and welcome here to TalkFCB, and welcome back to the channel here today, guys, where we're going to have full reaction and plenty of opinion on Barca's performance against Osasuna on Sunday night, because we're going to be discussing what we did well. You know, there were some good things, there were some bright moments in the game for Barca, but we are also going to be taking a look at the other side, giving some thoughts on what we need to improve right now, and some of the things that we simply cannot ignore. It is all coming up today in some detail. Let's do this. Because I would like to begin today, guys, by talking about Jules Kounde. He was, of course, the man who scored the very first goal of the game, and it was a very important goal indeed there, just before half-time, coming at a really good time for Barca. But I actually want to highlight him, not because of that goal, which was very nice, but actually because of the overall performance from Kounde, and not only in this game, because I think actually, so far this season, playing at centre-back, when he has been in that role, he has performed very, very well indeed. He looks so at home there, he's starting to look more and more comfortable, and it's almost as though now he's feeling more confident there. And I think especially now with the arrival of Cancelo at right back, Kounde knows he's got a real chance now to nail down this centre-back position, to actually go out and make it his own, and that is what we've seen so far this season. Excellent distribution from the back. I remember in the game against Getafe there, he was the one who created more chances than anybody else from that centre-back position, with those balls over the top. Absolutely wonderful, and I think he's really doing well right now. We want to see him continue like this, and it was very, very good signs from Kounde. And speaking indeed about Joao Cancelo, the brand new signing, we were hoping to see him from the start of the game, but he got half an hour there coming off the bench. Maybe Xavi felt he couldn't complete 90 minutes, but I think even in the time that he was on the field, not long, but he showed real promising signs. It felt very refreshing, I think, to have some genuine threat on that right side there, coming from fullback, somebody who, along with our attacking players, can also open up defences, because it didn't take Cancelo long, guys, did it, to pull off one of those outside the foot crosses. That is his absolute trademark, and the incredible thing is he's done that on both sides there. It is absolutely wonderful to watch. His technical quality is just outstanding, and I just think right now, if we can get players into the box, if we can get players there making attacking runs into the final third, you know, to get on the end of these kinds of Cancelo passes, we're going to create more. We are going to score more goals, because he has the quality to pick players out, but you've got to get that movement. You've got to get the players in those areas for that to happen, and that is what we want to see with Cancelo in the team now. And I think as well, looking at Joao Felix, he of course only came on for 10 minutes at the end of the game. Xavi obviously very conscious here that Cancelo and Joao Felix have not played much football over the summer months, and I actually think it's going to be quite good for them now. Both of them are heading away to join Portugal's squad in the international break, and hopefully that'll mean they'll get more minutes under their belts there. They'll be training again at the very highest level, and to get a bit more sharpness back in their play, because I think in 2 weeks' time, when Barca return from the break, you'd hope that both of these players would be absolutely ready to be pushing to start. However, guys, despite the fact that on Sunday night Barca did indeed get a very important win, and it was a crucial win, however you get it, they're all important, I know, and I also admit that going away to Osasuna, it's never an easy game. It's a tricky place to go, and that is why we will gladly accept the 3 points. But not everything is rosy, and again in this situation, we've said it many times this season, we shouldn't pretend that it is. We cannot ignore some of the things that are going on in this team right now, because I want to talk now about Gavi, because again we saw him lining up on the left wing, as he has done all season there, Xavi using him in that role, and admittedly, Gavi at left wing, it's worked brilliantly, maybe once, twice, 3 times, but consistently, it doesn't work. You know, why are we looking there at those wonderful odd games instead of the majority? Because Gavi, for me, is a top player. Last night he made his 100th appearance at Barca, the youngest player to reach that landmark. He is a brilliant, exciting young talent, but at left wing, I think we're hampering him. I think we're actually restricting him. Whenever you play him in that role there, you're asking him to operate in such a small, tight space. You're asking him to do something different to what he's actually used to, and I don't think we see anywhere near the best of Gavi. We are actively hurting his potential and maybe even his development by playing him there, and I just don't understand it from Xavi here. This obsession, this absolute insistence on playing four midfielders, because I think whenever you look at Barca in any game this season where they're playing with four midfielders, the one word you'd use to describe them, the way they look, rigid. There's no movement. You flood the team with that many midfield players and you limit the space that you create. You watch Barca and they just look so slow, lacking any sort of threat, any sort of penetration, and that is why teams can just nullify us with ease. And a lot of people have said throughout the time here of using four midfield, especially when you're looking at the left-hand side, well, maybe Balde needs the whole wing. Maybe Balde is good enough to just give him that whole side and expect him to do the work of a fullback and a winger all in one. But he can't do that on his own, and we shouldn't expect him to do that. That's not the way that it works, because I would actually look at some of the best times in our whole history, Dani Alves and Lionel Messi. Did Messi just leave Alves all on his own because he was good enough going forward? Did he just think, okay, I'm never going to combine with him, I don't need to be over there? That's not what happened. Messi and Dani Alves, they combined. They linked up as a two. It was a partnership on the right-hand side. And sure, Messi would come inside. Sure, Messi would leave that wing, but they had an understanding. And I've said so many times now, guys, this team right here, it lacks partnership. It lacks combination play. It doesn't exist. Because when you watch Barca right now, they genuinely look, each and every one of the players, as though they only met each other yesterday. There is no understanding there. There's no cohesion in any of our play. And that actually brings me on to a much wider issue in my next point. Because this, for me, is one of the biggest problems that we have right now. And certainly when the alarm bells are ringing, it's due to this. Every part of our game right now, whether you're playing at home, whether you're playing away, no matter who we're playing, low block, when there's space, any situation, our play for me, it looks random. The way that we go out there, the way that we operate on the field, everything seems as though we're just improvising based on the moment there, that there isn't actually a clear plan in the background. Because I think here, when you think of the very best teams in the world, and I'm going to use here Man City as an example, that's setting the bar high, but that's where the bar should be. Those are the kind of aspirations that we should have. When you watch Pep Guardiola's Man City, they have patterns of play. They actually have their passages of play throughout the game. They have a number of different options, ones that they can go to that have been perfectly drilled on the training ground. They know that when they're in that particular area of the field, they've got to take up this position. They know that they can move the ball in this sort of way, and that this player has got to make this run, and this player has got to make this run. They know where they have to be. They know the different plays and the different structures that they've worked on, and I just don't see that. I don't see any evidence of that right now. When you watch Barcelona, everything, like I say, looks as though we're doing it in the spur of the moment. We're thinking, okay, there's a space there, maybe we can just open that up. And it's all just happening in front of us right now. And that is why we don't really have confidence in what we're doing. Because I would also look at Xavi and say he insists on four midfielders. He insists on playing this system. But you notice, whenever we're drawing in a game, whenever the team we're playing equalise, or maybe when we're losing in a game, suddenly then he'll bring on subs. We'll go to three attackers. We will change the system. And that doesn't tell me he's actually that confident in what he's doing. He doesn't really believe, I think, through and through in that four midfielder setup. Because if you believe in something enough, if you are that confident in a plan, in a system, you don't just always change it. When things start to go wrong, suddenly he's changing everything. And that is why, for me, I think we have to move away from the four midfielders. Quite clearly, it's not working. We are not playing well. Because I've got to be honest and say, guys, with the quality we have in our squad now, we can't no longer say, oh, we don't have good players. We haven't spent money. We haven't brought players in. Nearly every single player that Xavi has asked for, by the way, we've got them. I know we didn't get Bernardo Silva, but no coach gets every single player they want. We've got so many of the players he needed. We've got a top quality squad now. And honestly, guys, we have to play better football. We should be playing much, much, much better football with the players that we have, and we are not right now. And that is the thing. That is the real core of the issue right now that simply must improve. But I would also like to say one more thing. I would like to just say here, I would rather us play poorly at the start of the season. If this is what it has to be, if we've got to go through this sort of period of bedding in the new signings, adjusting to the new season, we can find a way to improve. If we can get better, if things can start to click, maybe if Xavi can move towards a more attack-minded team, and then as the season goes on, we do get better. And towards the business end of the season, we start peaking then of course I would take take that. I would much rather be poor now, better later, than actually great now and really poor when it matters in the latter stages of the Champions League. But of course, that's a big leap of faith, because right now this Barca team, it is not playing at the level to compete for everything. I think I would say that right now. I do not feel confident here that we will go and destroy any team in our way, but there's lots of room for improvement. It's not as though here we've reached our ceiling, we've reached our peak, we can do more. It's just a case of finding that level and finding the answers in terms of team selection, in terms of the formation, the setup, finding patterns of play. But let me know, guys, in the comments down below, what do you make right now of Barca's performances? What do you make of our level? What do you see happening when we return from the international break with the new signings there, a bit more time they've had to get themselves ready? Do you feel as though Barca can go to new levels? Can we find that this season? Let me know those thoughts down below. I will see you soon. We will be talking lots more still across this international break. Thank you indeed for all of your support. But until next time, guys, as always, Visca El Barça.